What you see on the screen now is called Gaspare Empire. It is a game that I'm making, and with help from a friend of mine called BRIE, this is a game I am very excited about, actually. I uploaded the trailer for this game a while back, but what is this game really about? Let's talk a little bit about this game. Gaspare Empire started out as actually a remake, or a remaster, remake, of my very first complete platformer I made all the way back in 2010 called Super Wario 10. But as I started to make this engine, I liked it more and more and decided this should probably be its own unique game. My first ever, actually, fully original game that is not a fan game of anything. And so it slowly evolved into what is today Gaspare Empire. So what is this game all about? It is inspired by Wario Land, as you might have guessed, as it started out as a Wario Land fan game, and because I really liked the gameplay of Wario Land, I decided to take that concept and develop it into something that fits really into my kind of gameplay style. Gaspare Empire is a game where I tried to have the gameplay be satisfying. There's quite a lot of inspirational sources in this game. For example, Doom, of all things, because it moves so fast, it is so satisfying, it flows so well, especially Doom Eternal, in my opinion. There's a lot of inspiration for Gaspare Empire, but the main philosophy behind the gameplay structure of Gaspare is to have it be a Metroidvania platformer hybrid, kind of inspired by Wario Land 3, and also have the movement be as satisfying as I can make it to be. I want the moves to flow together really well. I want the player to have a lot of options in how they want to attack, how they want to move around. And I want this game to just naturally and organically flow from one move or one attack into the other and have the game flow very well. I also want to have a focus on precision. So this is a game about exploration in the style of a Metroidvania, with a lot of new stuff to upgrade and unlock, new tools, new moves, new attacks, new equipment, etc. that are mostly optional, and also have it be a platformer where you have to make tight platforming and when you have to be precise, because when it comes to the enemies of this game, the main concept is a bit different from what you see in Wario Land. Essentially, there is one main type of enemy in Gaspare Empire, and it is these jumping skulls that are bouncing everywhere. These are not typical enemies, because you have a lot of attacks at your disposal, but for most enemies in the game, if you try to attack those, they simply die. You defeat them. But with these skulls, they don't get defeated. Instead, you launch them when you attack them. And depending on what attack you use, their angle will be different, and their launch power will be different. And you can also keep attacking a skull to have it bounce and build up momentum so it will move and be launched quicker and harder. And what is the point of this? Your goal in the level is to use these skulls and launch them into other enemies. And then that is where you have to use your different moves in Gaspare's growing moveset, because the more moves you unlock, the more ways you have to defeat enemies normally, but also to attack these skulls so they can launch in different angles and you'll get more control over them. Now you might ask, what is the point of that, of launching them into other enemies instead of just defeating the enemies normally with any normal attacks that you have at your disposal? The thing is, these skulls are filled with the game's main kind of currency. And in this case, it is a golden cigar. And so to get those golden cigars out of the skulls, you have to break them open. And how do you do that? You launch them into enemies. And that is where this launch power mechanic comes in. Because the harder you hit an enemy with a skull, the more the skull will crack open, and the more cigars will drop out for you to collect. Now these golden cigars are used for many things in your game. They are used in the levels themselves and also outside of the levels. Because in the levels themselves, you can use these cigars as a form of offensive mechanism after you unlock certain moves, so you can spend cigars to gain powerful moves, but you can also save the cigars and use them for the escape. Now, the escape is something you will be familiar with if you know Pizza Tower, if you know Anton Blast, if you know Wario Land 4. It is a mechanic where you grab something, a timer start, and you have to rush back to the beginning of the level in order to complete it. Now, where these cigars come into play is when deciding how much escape time you get. Because next to the collectible item you have to get, there is a warden that is asleep. And there's a huge golden pipe that you can feed the warden golden cigars, and he will sleep for longer. Essentially what this means in practice is that the more cigars you feed to the warden before collecting this item and starting the escape, the more escape time you will get. This means the better you do in the level, the more escape time you can get, and the easier it can be to complete the level. But then again, there comes the question. Should you spend the cigars offensively to take out difficult foes, if you are low on HP, for example, or should you save them for the warden and get more time during the escape to make sure you don't fail? But there's a third thing as well. Because any cigar that you haven't used up in your ammunition, or any cigar you haven't spent feeding the warden to get more escape time, any cigar you have left when you finish the level, you get to keep. And they are added to a total score, a total currency. And these cigars that you bring out, that is added to your total, can be used in shops. And this is part of where more of the Metroidvania elements come in, because the game has a huge hub area, or a huge hub world, that you can explore. This is where you find the entrance to all the levels. You will find secrets in here. You will find tons of NPCs to get to know and do some side quests for. And you will find shops where you can spend these cigars for more upgrades, new gear, new attacks, new moves, etc. And here is the final little thing I want to talk about. Most things in the game that you can get is optional. There's only a couple of things that you need to get in order to progress, but each level has secrets in them. As I said, you have shops where you can buy stuff with your cigars. There are secrets to find in the hub area. There are even things where you can choose different paths depending on what you want to unlock first, which can lead you to different things. And maybe later in the game, you need an item, which is a secret from a previous level, etc. But most of them are optional. And I want to keep it that way because I want players to be able to play through the game normally by going from level A to B to C to D. But the longer you get into the game, the tougher it will get, as is the normal. But I want players to feel that this game gets difficult unless you start to explore a bit. And when you get, and use a new item much later in the game, then maybe then you can go back to one of the first levels in the game and unlock a new area in that level in order to find another secret, which might be a powerful new upgrade. This is the philosophy of Gaspare Empire, the gameplay philosophy. I want the game to be linear, but I want the option for tons of exploration to be there. And this exploration brings you new attacks, and you can explore new areas in different levels and in previous levels that you had already played through by using new stuff you've found. I want to be tons of NPCs that you can find and encounter and talk to and befriend. And essentially, what you collect, what upgrade you get, most of the time, that is up to you. And in all of this gameplay stuff, I want to wrap it all in a 1930s, 1940s film noir style. Gaspar is a gangster, but a more cartoonish one. He has a cigar empire, a golden cigar empire. So it's a more cartoonish criminal empire than what you see in most movies that are about gangsters. But Gaspar is a charming, cocky, full of himself guy that you don't know if you should dislike or really like. He is extremely confident, and the basic plot on the surface is that he gets caught one day as the mind behind this entire cigar empire, and he gets thrown into a strange prison. A prison that is very big and very deep underground. And as you play, you might figure out more about Gaspar as a character and about this prison and this world as a whole and secrets it may hold. If any of this interests you, you can check out the official Discord server for Gaspare Empire, which you can find in the description of this video, where I will post updates, and you can also chat and discuss ideas with others and also impressions and other stuff there. Everything about Gaspare Empire. I hope this piqued your interest a little bit, and if it did, I wouldn't mind if you drop a little like on the video. And perhaps if you know somebody who might enjoy this game, feel free to share this video with them. I would love to see what more people think of this. And I hope you are excited if you like this kind of game. Right? Thanks for watching, and subscribe to see more videos from me.